Hi everyone, I'm Liz Brown Swanson and welcome to Around the Peninsula. Today we begin our program at Green Hills Memorial Park in RPV, where the community came together for Green Hills' 33rd annual Memorial Day observance. It was an emotional day where the community came to honor and remember all of those who have fought for our country and paid the ultimate sacrifice fighting for our freedom.
Some of the events that are going to be taking place today is, as long as the weather clears up for us, we're going to have a C-17 flyover at 10 a.m. We will have our color guard presentation with JROTC, veterans, active duty military, police and fire, K-9, and a horse-drawn carriage, and also a mounted police department from the Long Beach Police Department this year as well, followed by the welcoming of Mayor Susan Brooks of Rancho Palos Verdes. And then we are going to be having other events taking place, such as 21-gun salute, taps, skydivers, flyovers, and memorial wreath presentations as well.
Talk about what this day means to you and to so many. This, you said, has been your 18th year observing here.
This event is so important to me, not only as a community events coordinator. It's something for us to be able to give back to our community, but it's our way of being able to say thanks to our military, those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. I'm fortunate to have family that have served every branch of the military, all still with us today. My father is a Vietnam veteran, and so I am fortunate that he came home. I was born after he came back from Vietnam, so that is a true blessing. But this is, again, just a day for us to be able to pay tribute and to recognize and, to celebrate to some degree, because, we are so fortunate to have such an amazing support system with our military, who day in and day out are providing protection for our country. But again, to recognize those who weren't able to come back home, or those who later on passed on and maybe don't have that remembrance that they deserve.
There's a wall up here with some photos. What's that mean? What is that? Who put that together? I don't know what that's all about there.
Those photos are actually just photos from past events, those who have been keynote speakers, those who have been provided the benediction, just participants of the program that we wanted to pay tribute to, because they've been such a huge support to our program.
We are now here with RPV Mayor Susan Brooks, a very important ceremony today. You gave the opening remarks. What was your message, Mayor Brooks?
Well, thank you. This is a day to commemorate. This is a day to reflect. And my message was to acknowledge that we are here to acknowledge the sacrifices that so many have made to keep us free. And a little of the origin of how Memorial Day came about, Decoration Day after the Civil War, how over 600,000 men died in the Civil War alone, and when you look at the whole total of all wars combined, it's over 1 million. But that was such a huge toll that we took. And at this time of divisiveness in the world, divisiveness in our country, this is something we all come together. We come together out of love, respect, honor, dignity, and faith. And we do this, and these are our core principles of our country, and this is what keeps us free.
And I know that you have people that served in your own family.
Yes, I did. I had an uncle I never met. He was a private in the Army. He was in the infantry. He made it through the Battle of Normandy. He made it through the Normandy invasion, and then a month later succumbed to what's called the Battle of St. Lo, which was actually friendly fire. And then, of course, my father-in-law, it was a very decorated hero, Major General Allison Brooks from the U.S. Air Force. Flew more B-17 and P-51 missions than were ever allowed, and went on to become Major General and do great things.
One thing you mentioned, this is about remembering, those deceased, but those that are still living, and we always have to remember we need to do all we can for our veterans.
I think I pointed out that there are not enough days in the year that we can take to thank those people who are serving our country, who have served our nation and our country to defend us from freedom. But I might also add, it's not easy to be a cop today. It's not easy to be to help the people in public service in that capacity. So my heart goes out to, and our hats all go off to acknowledge those people who fight to keep our nation free on many levels.
This is a very special day. We've been coming here for, a decade and a half to 2 decades ever since we moved back to RPV. And it is a very special day, a solemn day. Lots of emotions come forward. It's totally appropriate that we recognize the veterans that come here. More so that we recognize those that died in service of this country, gave the ultimate sacrifice. I had 2 very close friends of mine, Michael Norman Ayotte and Randall Roby, both pilots. I went to the Air Force Academy. They both died in jet crashes, and I think about them every day. I've had a chance to recognize them over the years, but we really need to remember those that keep America free and really allow us to enjoy what this country has to offer.
Why did you decide to serve?
It's interesting. I was highly recruited as a football player out of high school, and the Air Force Academy worked very diligently to bring me on board, and I researched it for a year and a half because it's a long process to get there. And the idea of flying planes intrigued me, and the education was, top shelf, bar none. And so after much consultation with the family, it was decided that that'd be an appropriate place to go.
Where did your military service take you?
Took me to Enid, Oklahoma. A couple years of pilot training there, and unfortunately I had a leg injury that precluded me continuing on, but got 100 and plus hours, 120 hours in the jet, so that was one of the highlights of my life. And I still have friends from the academy and pilot training that are lifelong friends today.
Well, this is particularly solemn and special and celebratory to me, particularly because I lost my grandfather 6 months ago. He actually was a B-17 gunner, served in World War II, and served for 25 missions over Europe and survived, and then went on to have a big family. So this is not only something very personal for our community, it's very personal for me as well.
My message today is that we're paying tribute to people that have served this great country of ours. Both my father and grandfather served this country, and they both have passed, unfortunately, but I'm honoring them as well, and I'm honoring everyone within our community that has served our country and deserves all the accolades that we can give them.
Present colors.
Over the Memorial Day weekend, we have over 600 Boys and Girl Scouts that come and roam the entire cemetery, 120-acre cemetery, and place flags at all the veterans that are marked by either a military emblem, a VA marker, or some type of military indication, whether it says U.S. Navy, U.S. Army. And just with that alone, we have over 8,000 flags that we place. But again, that does not count those that are unmarked.
Hi, I'm Susan Brooks. Thank you so much for your service to our country.
Tell me a little bit about your military involvement when you served.
We were in occupation of Japan, in Sasebo, Japan, and then the war started. We were the first ones to go to Korea from Sasebo, Japan. We landed in Busan, and they sent us to Osan and Suwon, and then I got shot in the back, machine gun. And from there, I swam the Han River in Tokyo, and Korea, and I got away, and a tank blew me through a house. And I don't remember nothing. I woke up in Tokyo General Hospital. They operate on me. I did my duty.
I am so grateful and I'm so sorry, but I'm happy to see you here on this incredible day. Being here for you, have you come often to this park for this ceremony?
Yeah, every year I come to here. I got that medal from De Leon of the Secretary of Defense, Tony Apodaca, and they rewarded me the Purple Heart and the Disabled American Veteran.
You're here with your dad who served. Talk about your dad as a hero.
Well, just growing up and hearing the stories about his service, He has some stories that are unbelievable that he had to go through, and some of the sacrifices that he made. Tough as nails. I don't think anybody I'll ever know that's been through hell and back as my father has. So sorry I get a little emotional at times, but there's a lot of things that he's done in this life, and I can't possibly imagine, what anybody can and possibly survive. A lot of things. So.
How has this become a story of hope, though, for people that might see what your dad's been through?
Well, he definitely came back and led a productive life. He's a hard worker. He worked for McDonnell Douglas after he came back, and then he started working down the waterfront in 1957, and then he got his union book in 1959, and he worked down the waterfront for 52 years after the Korean War.
Even with those injuries?
Even with the injuries, yeah. He still has some shrapnel still in his in where his pelvic area is. He has some shrapnel in his hands and his knees, but he's still going.
Ready. Aim. Fire. Ready. Aim. Fire. Ready. Aim. Fire. Freeze and pause.
It's an honour to be able to jump in on Memorial Day. It's very exciting, always jumping in unfamiliar places like this. But it's a great honour for sure.
So what was it like today, weather-wise?
The weather broke up nicely. We were concerned earlier on with the low clouds, but it broke nicely and everything went according to plan.
Tell us about the team of all these jumpers here.
We have a mixture of ex-Army Special Forces, Army Special Forces, Army Special Forces, Navy Special Forces, and a couple of civilians, and I'm ex-infantry.
Well, thank you for serving. What does this day mean to you?
It's always important to have a day set aside to remember the fallen, and like I said, it's a great honor to jump here.
Very important. We have to remember everyone who gave their life for this country. I mean, I saw an article recently said that the pen is mighty because of the sword. We got free speech and everything we have here in this country. It's because of those who gave their lives for this country. And for me, I served in the Air Force, and I served also in the Army National Guard, but I was in between wars. I was post-Vietnam. I was a jet mechanic, but I knew a couple of guys that were, their plane crashed and they passed away. But it's still sad, but it's good to remember, especially to give their lives for all of us.
For me, it's a day of reflection. It's a somber day to reflect on those that gave their lives for our country.
It's a day of patriotism. If you love your country, you love this event, and I'm just so honored that so many people come to be a part of this every year and show their continued support.
This was certainly an emotional observance today, and in the words of RPV Mayor Susan Brooks, there could never be enough days to remember all those who serve our country and pay the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Now, there's still more to come here on Around the Peninsula. We will travel over to Hesse Park, where the organization CHOA, the Council of Homeowners Association, brings the community together for a very important event.
Hello everyone, today I'll be sharing with you the second public safety awareness tip from Lomita Station. Don't be a victim of identity theft. The Department of Justice reports that 4% of US adults, including over 1.5 million Californians, will be a victim of identity theft this year alone. A person's identity can be compromised in many different ways, especially through telephone scams and mail theft. Identity thieves can gain access to your mail and obtain valuable information such as your name, address, banking information, and even your social security number. As scary as it sounds, identity thieves can get a hold of your W-2 forms and actually file your taxes. Installing a locking mailbox at your residence would make it difficult for the average opportunistic mail thief to steal your mail. All right, that's it for today. If you have any topics you want us to cover, leave us a comment and we will see you next week.
All right, so here we are at Hesse Park for the second annual EXPO put on by CHOA, which stands for the Council of Homeowners Associations here in RPV. This is happening to bring the community together to find out about the various city departments and organizations in our community.
CHOA was established to represent the entire community as a collective voice. And the charter initially was to get involved in community issues that affect the majority of the Peninsula folks rather than a minority or a sectional element. So about 15 years ago, a group got together and established this organization. We have currently about 40 members. We'd like to have it more around the 55 number, but we only have 40 at this point in time. But we do discuss issues. We meet 4 or 5 times a year. We have speakers that are presenting discussions on issues that pertain to the peninsula, and we have a great board. They're responsive. They work hard. This event was done basically by board members, and we're just pleased to be able to represent the community.
We're really actually looking to have the community come together and see all the wonderful resources that we have, because there are a lot of people that live here, and when I run into people who've lived here for a long time, they have no idea that all the resources are available through the city, through the nonprofit organizations that are here, through the school district. Like, there's a lot of wonderful organizations up here, and people just aren't aware of them. So the idea was to actually bring this group together to find out what's available as resources in the community. This year, second year, we have the Sheriff's Department, we have the Fire Department. Actually, they're up in the red zone up here, which I love, which is great. We have the Point Vicente, Los Serranos. We have the air, noise, traffic control in here. We have the view people. We've got a lot of city departments like the Park and Recs, because they provide a lot of things. We've got the utilities, EDCO, Cal Water, Southern California Edison, a gas company, right? We've got Ring here as well for safety and security, and as you know, they did a really great job and did a program with us with some discounted products and services, which is really awesome. The library, the Friends of the Library, Marymount University, one of our educational institutions. We've got a lot of the arts and culture organizations, so the Norris Theater is here. The Peninsula Seniors are here in spirit. They weren't able to be here tonight. The Education Foundation, the Land Conservancy, like pretty much every main organization on the Hill is here.
It's a good turnout, and we do it yearly, and we bring all the organizations which are active, and some of them are non-profit, and the city organizations. So this way, the residents of the Rancho Palos Verdes get to know their own cities, facilities, and services. And utility companies also, they get to, security is another concern, and we have people who have tables here for security and emergency preparedness.
We're just kind of putting information out there to keep the residents safe, help them prevent becoming a victim of crime. Different tips, locking up your stuff, not leaving stuff in the open, how to avoid people getting your information at ATMs, and just things you can do to keep yourself safer. We also have some information on coyotes, so if you see coyotes, how you can report it on the website. It's important to spread the word, to network with us. If you see something suspicious, let us know. Some of our best arrests have come off of somebody calling in saying that there's a strange car outside.
We're sharing a message of just being prepared with all types of emergencies, but in this circumstance, we're talking about the brush fires and being prepared. The preparatory message is to have things in place so when a fire does hit, you are able to have a defensible space with cleaning up a lot of the brush, shrubbery, natural vegetation that is surrounding your home.
I saw it on Nextdoor and I thought I need to check that out because it mentioned city services. And I thought, let me go find out what's happening and what kind of services there are around that we can use, especially with the summer coming up.
I caught you at the Norris booth. You interested in the Norris?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe to catch a show. The grease looked like it might be fun.
Chris, you're here representing the Norris. What are you sharing with the community?
Well, we have a lot of programs. We're focusing right now. We've just finished our professional season, and so generally in the summer we turn it over to the kids. So we have summer camps that will be held mostly in our pavilion and also in our conservatory building. But in the theater, they'll be performing Grease and Willy Wonka Jr. So we have two different casts that'll be doing different shows, and they get to perform on the big stage. So that's our fun summer.
So for people to find out what's happening and how they can become involved in these productions, what should they do?
The best way to get involved with any of it is to go to our website, which is www.palos-verdes-performingarts.com, and that gives you ticketing information and showtimes, and then also numbers to call for conservatory things or for the professional side as well.
It's always great to be here with Gay Van Sands, Community Relations at Terranea, out tonight with the community once again. What's been good for you here at the Expo tonight?
Well, of course, we'd love to be here, and it's great to be part of the community, so we're very thrilled to have an opportunity to come and connect with people. It's just nice to talk and have quiet time to really get to know people and tell them what we're doing. A lot of interest always in our programming, so we're trying to convince everyone to come and hang out and take part in all of our offerings.
What's going on this summer?
Oh my goodness, so much. Where do I begin? We've got some very cool concerts at Nelson's as always. We've got a big Music on the Meadows event coming up on the 4th of July. Father's Day, of course, a lot of programming for that. And then just our general activities. We have everything from kayaking to archery to cake decorating, all kinds of things.
Well, it's a great honor to be with the president of Marymount California University, Brian Marcotte. You're not new to the community, but you're newly on board as president. How is it going?
You know, I often say I'm having more fun than I probably deserve, but Marymount is a great place. It's a unique university. It's small in size and very cozy for our students, and we believe we're giving them a very good education.
What brought you to the CHOA event tonight?
Well, we like CHOA because it gives us an opportunity to really just meet our neighbors. Sometimes it's easy in the academic community to kind of get isolated just a little bit, and we don't want that. We want our university to be a very inviting place for the community, a place where somebody can come from the community, maybe drop in, have a cup of coffee, have a meal at our cafeteria. It's just we want it to be an inviting and pleasant place.
Well, tonight we're sharing just a sampling of the different programs and events that we have at the library here. So we have both the adults, the programs for adults, programs for kids, and also after-hours events that we have at the library, the different films. We have a summer reading program for both adults and children that is starting on June 4th. With the adult programs, we're doing something special this year, like a bingo thing where people can come in, and we're focusing on teaching people about our electronic resources, that the library is not just about books, but they can discover something new.
I'm very involved in the community. I've lived here for 35 years, but I just wanted to come by and pick up. I've got a lot of information to take home and read. So I think it's great.
Residents in RPV and all over the community are starting to learn more about Ring and why they need one of your doorbell systems. Explain what Ring is all about and why it's so important for security.
So Ring is great because it's a little bit of a different way of looking at traditional security cameras. So with our products, they will notify you when something is happening. So with a traditional hardwired security camera, it's constantly recording, but it's not going to notify you when there's a motion, for example. So with our stuff, it's super easy to set up and install. It's a free app that you can download. And then, you get to enjoy the features, 1080 video, two-way audio, night vision, siren alarm on the camera products themselves. And the greatest part about Ring is that we look at it as a community. So all of our products, we have in the Ring app, we have something called Neighbors, which is a kind of like a community digital watch. So different neighbors in Ranchos Palos Verdes, they can share videos in the goal or in the event of trying to raise awareness for potential suspicious activity or ultimately to reduce crime in the neighborhood.
What are you explaining today to the community?
Oh, just a little depiction of the service line, like how you guys are fed off of the water mains.
All right, Eric, a lot of people you said are asking you tonight a little bit about the California Water Project that's already starting now in June. Talk about that.
Oh, okay. Well, as I said, the project starts on the 22nd of June, and it's coming up Crenshaw, and it's a transmission feed which feeds all the water up to the hill. So if that line were to break completely and it was down, the hill is basically down. So we're installing a new line, another line, a secondary line as a backup plan. So say if one were to go, we can close those and we can open up the other feed to make sure that the hill doesn't drop off.
Well, I don't know, Rudy, if people are coming near you because you got this scary coyote with you.
I know, it looks pretty scary. Our main thing is education for residents, be more informed of simply how to live and coexist with the urban coyote and just learn the habitat. We have very information, our management plan with the cities. Again, we have yard audits and brochures just to keep the residents informed of what to look out for in their yards to prevent the coyote from not entering their yards and harming their pets or families.
This was a great resource tonight to learn more about the community that you've been living in since 1963. What were some of the things you learned about tonight?
Well, it's getting to be with the city and know what the city's doing and find out what the city's doing, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on here that you don't know if you don't have a connection like this.
Goal with government, and we still have a long way to go, is to let residents know there's no wrong door. In other words, any access point they have to government, we're going to steer them in the right direction to get to the right person. And I think events like this help that, because people can see certainly all the city governments here, but other community organizations, utilities are here, things like that, so that it helps them navigate the organizations out there when they have issues or problems. They can get business cards so they can call people in the future, things like that.
The goal here for tonight is to expose all the wonderful businesses and opportunities on the peninsula that work for the betterment of the community. So we are so grateful to you, and we're happy to be your host city here in Rancho Palos Verdes. And I think Gay Van Sands is going to, from Terranea, she's our wonderful Terranea representative. Would you like to pick the first?
So this is the person who's going to win the Terranea gift?
Yes.
I picked David Berman.
David Berman.
Congratulations, you've won a one-night stay at Terranea.
Awesome.
I love this event. I was joking that I was going to win, and I won.
Now you have a Ring doorbell. You're going to go home and install that?
I sure am.
Well, Donald, you've had a successful night. You won a Ring doorbell.
We're going to try that out. It's going to get installed this weekend.
You're here, you said you're active in the Ladera Linda Homeowners Group. Why is it so important to be part of your homeowners group?
In our little community there in Ladera Linda, it's a family. And I think one of the things I want to promote as the president is making sure everybody knows their neighbors. And it's really a tight organization. And to be honest with you, I lost my wife about 1.5 years ago. And the best support I got was from my neighbors.
We need to get back to knowing who our neighbors are, knowing who's in the neighborhood, how we can help and support each other, how we can make sure that we're protected in relationship to any kind of an emergency situation. And one of the ways to do that is actually to have the community come together and meet and greet each other.
The motto here at CHOA is community leadership in action. Certainly a lot of leaders here and action. And to learn more about this organization, you can check out their Facebook page. And that's going to do it for this edition of Around the Peninsula. I'm Liz Brown Swanson. See you next time.